Um, a lot of people, most people, they have very black and white attitudes on how to get a desired outcome, how to get in shape, how to lose fat, right? Uh, One of the things is always, for food wise, people think they have to cut out all these things, all the bad things, and eat healthy. Um, and so they think, oh, either I have to eat all this food that I don't like to get the desired outcome, and that's gonna suck, or, well, I'm not gonna lose fat because I don't want to stop eating these things I like. So either way, they go, whatever. Now, training wise, it's the same thing. People think, okay, well, all right, I'm gonna do 2 a days, I'm gonna do 3 a days. I'm gonna, do an hour of cardio, etc. And if I either, and that's the only way to get results, or they go, I don't have that kind of time. Okay, they resign themselves to being out of shape, being overweight. But when you actually understand what causes the desired outcome and how much input, how much effort is actually required, how much time is required, and how little that is, and you can have the outcomes and a higher probability of getting that outcome, because you're not going to blow yourself up along the way, because the more you move towards doing more, you raise the probability of you not continuing to do it. So your consistency probability goes down when you focus on more, versus if you focus on what is enough. How much is enough? And that number is way lower than what you think. People think what is enough is actually not. It's like way higher than what it is. And so that's kind of the mentality, like that's the focus of a lot of the stuff that we talk about in the Burrito Mafia, and all the stuff that I share is like minimum effective dose, right? And I talk about the financial examples all the time of like, people think, if somebody has a business, all the conversations are around how to scale your business to 7 figures. Oh, you got to make more money. When, if they just sat down and figured out, well, how much money would I need to fund the things that I want in my life, and they actually put a number on it, they realize that number is actually way lower than these random numbers that we make up, right? And so, minimum effective dose, not focused on more, but focused on enough. And the beautiful part about this, and people have a hard time letting this go, is like a lot of people feel guilty. A lot of times when, like, I have clients and they get phenomenal results, and like they're like, man, this is actually so easy, like I can't believe it. And then they feel bad, and then like, oh, I should do more. but but why do you want to raise the probability of you doing something dumb, and then you're consistent, and then not being able to be consistent for a whole year, right? But that is the cultural programming, the societal programming, and that's the tendency that people have, which is why nobody's ever consistent, right? And you can only go so long where you're just like redlining it before you either A, you get burned out, or B, you get an injury, right? Or C, like you just don't have time for 2 hours of working out in a day, you know. Um, so this is so important, and like I'll give you some practical stuff too. Like, let's say, okay, well, Rambir, this makes sense to me, I get it, but now how do I make this practical? So I want to start giving you more practical things as well, because I look at things like this: concepts and tactics. These concepts may make sense to you, and if you're watching this, that concept probably definitely makes sense to you, because most people, the type of people that are going to get it right, or not get it, they're not going to watch this type of stuff. So let me give you some tactical stuff to put this into practice, okay? Now this is exactly what I would do, and this is what I do vast majority of the time. And I got some pretty damn good results, right? Very, very desirable results. And so do all my clients, right? Over the last, whatever, 13, 14 years. So if we want to make this practical, here's what I would do. Here's what I would tell you. And if you want me to help you, like, make it more specific to you, just shoot me a message on Instagram. But one, strength training. You got many options, but I would keep things very simple. If you do literally 10 minutes of any type of strength training, right? So I'll give you specific examples. You could do an RDL or a deadlift, some type of squat, some type of row, and you don't have to do all of them every day. You know, you could alternate it. Let's say day one you do a squat and a row, right? So you do a squat and a row, and let's say you put 10 minutes on the clock, and whatever weight you have, right, whatever is accessible to you. Let's say, you know, you have dumbbells only, and you're gonna do 10 squats, 10 rows. In 10 minutes, all you're gonna do is you're just gonna do 10 squats, 10 rows, and see how many total reps comfortably you can get in that time period. Your strength training is now done. Day two would be, let's say let's say same thing, dumbbells, RDL, Romanian deadlift, and a press. And same thing, you pick a weight, you do 10 RDLs, 10 presses, 10-minute timer, see how many you can complete. Okay, those are your two workouts right there for strength. Another strength option is like if you have a kettlebell, a single kettlebell, you could get so much done. And you could do, let's say you're just doing swings and goblet squats, right? Same thing, put 10 minutes on the clock, 10 swings, 10 squats, see how many you can get. Now, that's 10 minutes, and then you put 5 minutes on the clock, and whatever cardiovascular equipment you have, maybe it's a stationary bike, which is, you know, is great because you can get one for like you can get a solid one for like $150 on Amazon, or you go on Facebook Marketplace, you can pick up a really good one. Sometimes people are trying to get rid of stuff for you know, a steal. And you put 5 minutes on the clock for your cardio, and you just alternate this. The rep schemes don't really matter, but let's say you do 10 seconds as hard as you can, 20 seconds chill, and you do that for the 5 minutes. Okay, you're getting your goal here is to get winded on purpose. Okay, 15 minutes, you're done. If you do this 15-minute workout every day, okay, which again, everybody has 15 minutes. And this is so simple. Like people always gravitate towards complexity, but we don't care about the most complex thing. We just care about, am I doing enough of the right thing to get the desired result? And that's 15 minutes right there, done. You could change your entire life in the next month, right? And definitely in the next 3 months if you just did that 15-minute workout that I just outlined, right? And I would ask you, think about this, ask yourself this question. If you did that 15-minute workout for the next 6 months, do you think, which by the way, is it possible to do that? Because it's 15 minutes and it's very, very simple and easy. Most people would say, yeah, that's easy. So since it's so easy, you will be able to be consistent for the next 3 months, for the next 6 months, right? There's not going to be a time constraint. There's not going to be an equipment restraint. There's not going to be the chance of injury is going to be very, very low. So why would you not do that versus oh, this super complicated workout, and it's gonna take an hour, and then you're gonna do 30 minutes of cardio, blah blah blah. Which one is gonna yield more results? 3 months of the 15-minute workout, or maybe a week or a couple weeks of the other one, but then eventually you burn out, etc. Blah blah blah. You don't have time. You know the answer to that. So my recommendation is always go with the minimum effective dose. Okay, this is literally what I've done. In my entire life, a lot of the stuff on YouTube, on Instagram, most of the stuff is way too complicated and complex. And this is a thing that happens because the people that are sharing this info, it's very specific to a very specific audience, right? A lot of times these people are sharing stuff for other fitness people, other trainers. They're not really taking into consideration that the average, the majority of us, we don't have that much time. We haven't we have families, we have jobs, you got all this stuff going on. And you're not going to deep dive into hour-long videos on training and nutrition and like the studies of this. Look, all you want to change your life, you want to change your body, a couple things you need. Okay? Get lean, get strong, and get winded on purpose. Okay? I always add this last piece because it's very important. Get peaceful. Okay? You want to do this in an elegant way, in a graceful way. Get strong, get lean, get winded on purpose, get peaceful. I gave you the 15-minute workout. If you do this, your entire life will change. You will lose fat, you will get stronger, you won't get winded anymore. I just talked to a guy, he was telling me, he's lost 30 pounds, and he's like, I feel so much better already. And he still has about another 30 pounds to lose, but he's like, man, I feel so good. Like, he was telling me he bent down to tie his shoe, he stood up, and he was out of breath, like he couldn't breathe. Think about how crazy that is, right? And most people live their lives in this position of like, if they had to do anything even remotely, not even barely demanding, they get out of breath and they can't breathe. That's not a good thing. That is not a good thing. And the little 15-minute workout I gave you will change all that. It will change all of that, right? 10 minutes of that strength block, 5 minutes on a stationary bike or an elliptical or whatever, and you get your heart rate up. The kettlebell swings, they do both at the same time. You will get winded, and also you will be building strength. So that's a nice way to do both. So you could even do 10 minutes of that by itself. But and that's kind of what the point of the 10,000 swing April challenge is. But that's it for today. Why do more when you can do less and get everything that you want with a higher probability? We want to focus on enough to get the result versus more for the sake of more, because that's what you think will get the result. But when you do more, you decrease the probability of you actually getting what you want, because you won't be able to keep it up. So 10,000 swing challenge is underway. If you want to get in there, find me on Instagram and send me a message, and join the Burrito Mafia, because we're just going to be making gains. Every month we're going to have a different focus, or different tactical focus or challenge, but there's only 3 things that we're working on all year, and we'll just have different variations of that. So